Apparently, there's 12 stages of burnout. And by the time I figured that out, I was on phase 13. I mean, I was leading, I was scaling, I was saving everybody but myself. And the world rewards the hustle, right? We wear exhaustion like it's a badge of honor, especially in healthcare. But what nobody tells you is that the more you chase productivity, the less you actually lead. And the wildest part, the moment that I stopped grinding so hard and actually rested, my business made me more money. So let's talk about why rest isn't lazy, it's leadership. And in this video, I'm going to break down the exact framework that helped me turn my burnout into clarity and my rest into revenue. I want to start off with a story. It's the day that I went to the movies, and I'll never forget this, right? I decided to take off work. I had finally hired an associate in my practice, but out of habit, I was still going to the practice every single day. Even when I was exhausted and like super tired, even when my body and my mind were screaming, girl, go sit down. And then on this random Tuesday, I challenged myself. I was like, all right, y'all, I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to be a normal human. And what would happen if I just didn't show up to the office today? So to me, I was doing something radical. And I marched my little butt up into the movies in the middle of the day. I think it was like on a Tuesday at like 1 o'clock. And when I tell y'all the disgusting feeling of guilt and judgment that I felt when I was in that movies, I mean, you would have literally thought that I had robbed a bank or something. And I was actually even judging the people that were in the movies too. I was so freaking out about this. And I think that, it's crazy because I realized something clicked for me. Like, I wasn't doing something because I was lazy. I was really tired and I wasn't unmotivated. I was just physically drained. And I had somehow figured out in this process that I was confusing rest for weakness. And now my worth was now tied to how busy I looked. So let's talk about the tooth that taught me about leadership. It reminded me of something that used to happen when I was in the operatory, right? If I'm going to extract a tooth, right, and it's really super complicated. You guys have had this experience before where you're doing a procedure or a surgery and it's really, really complicated. You find yourself getting frustrated and tense. You're upset. You're just like, why won't this come out? And so what do? You stop. You put your instruments down. You decide to take a break. You take some deep breaths. Some of you guys may go outside. Like I like to go outside sometimes and then I'll come back in, wash back up. And every single time I did that, what happened? When I walked back into that operatory, I was calmer, I was focused, and magically that tooth, I would see exactly how to get it out. It would come right out. And if I'm being honest, that really wasn't magic, right? That's clarity. When you stop forcing something, you can finally see. And that moment has replayed in my mind so many times because that's exactly what rest will do in leadership. It's not about quitting, guys. It's about recalibrating. I want to talk about the science of our addiction to being busy. We have been conditioned to equate busyness with status. Somewhere along the way, I'm so busy became the adult version of a gold star, right? Like, she's so busy. She's so busy. Like, here's a gold star for you, girl. But research is showing us that this addiction to productivity isn't harmless, right? So during survival times, our brains were rewarded by seeking new information. And that's that dopamine hit that helped us stay alive. But today, that same reward system keeps us refreshing our inboxes, checking charts, saying yes to one more thing. And the problem? Well, chronic busyness actually impairs our frontal cortex and the part of the brain responsible for the creativity, problem solving, and emotional intelligence. And the results are showing up everywhere. As according to the American Medical Association, burnout now affects more than 60% of physicians at a historic high. And the World Health Organization classifies burnout as an occupational phenomenon linked to chronic workplace stress. So guys, this is not just being emotional, right? It's expensive. Another study by the Harvard Business Review estimates that burnout costs the U.S. businesses over $190 billion each year in health-related expenses and loss of productivity. So, in other words, the busier we are, the worse we're leading. And let's be honest, some of y'all don't need to be worse leaders, and y'all know exactly what I mean. What changed everything? When I finally allowed myself to rest, I discovered something unexpected. My business ran actually better. And that didn't happen overnight, but once I stepped back, I saw things I couldn't see before. Broken systems, unnecessary meetings, how often I was making emotional decisions because I was simply exhausted. I used to believe that I had to do more to make more, but when I started taking these intentional breaks, I could think clearly again, and I was actually making higher quality decisions, which y'all know what that equates to? More money. Just like that extraction, when I gave my brain the moment to breathe, the solutions became obvious. Rest gives you guys an opportunity to have a bird's eye view, and that helped me in my practice, and that perspective changed everything. So here are the 3 shifts that help me build a healthier and more profitable practice. Number 1, rest reveals what chaos hides. When you stop living in constant reaction mode, you can finally see where things are broken down. So your systems can get cleaner, my team got stronger, and my practice ran smoother because I was no longer looking at bottlenecks. Number 2, rest improves decision making. When you're tired, you react emotionally. And when you're rested, though, you respond strategically. So the best business moves I've ever made didn't come from me being stressed out. They definitely came from me being still. And number 3, rest expands creativity. So every innovative idea, new services that I'm doing, marketing angle, or systems came after rest, not during chaos. That's not luck. That's neuroscience. Creativity requires space. The practical ways to build rest into your practice. So here are a few ways that I help my clients, actually, and myself, integrate rest into our business without losing productivity. 1, I want you to schedule a CEO thinking day, and that is 1 morning a week where you have no patients, no calls, just reflection and planning. I want you to delegate with structure, not chaos. And if you need help with learning how to delegate, check out our video on how we teach the TAC method in delegation. Next, systems should support your absence, not depend on your presence. I want you to encourage your team for micro breaks, right? Every 10 minutes between patients, it helps the team improve focus and reduce a lot of those error rates. It helps you redefine your return on investment, and rest is not a loss of time. It is definitely a high yield investment in better leadership and longevity. My final thoughts are this. The irony is we got into healthcare to help others heal. Yet we forget that the exhaustion that we're experiencing is not noble, guys. It is truly negligent. And when I finally stopped running on fumes, I didn't just feel better. I was a better leader. My practice grew, my team thrived, and my profits increased. Because rest didn't make me weaker, it made me wise. If you are a doctor or a leader who has been running empty, I want you to ask yourself this. What would your business look like if you led from clarity instead of chaos? I want you to normalize wealth that does not require burnout. Docs, you don't have to choose between ambition and peace. With my structures, we build both. Subscribe and join me every single week as we break down the mindset and systems and strategies that lead brilliantly and help you live freely. Because your business should serve your life and not the other way around. If you're ready to reclaim your time and lead from clarity instead of chaos, tap the link below to explore one of my coaching programs. Let's design structure that makes you successful and sustainable.